This is the Practical Mystics podcast, where we have modern spiritual conversations about the mess, the magic, and everything in between. I'm Kimberly Crawford.
And I'm Shannon Havill.
That's right. You need to know who I am.
We hope you'll join us. This is our debut episode of the podcast.
Can you tell?
Thought we would just, yes. We've been practicing, but
Still working on it.
So we thought we'd just share a little bit about the podcast and what we're inviting you into. And as you can tell, this is setting the tone for unedited and a little messy.
Oh my goodness. Should we start over and then we can clip that part out, or just keep going?
Whatever you want. We could start over.
Okay. All right. This is the Practical Mystics podcast, where we have modern spiritual conversations about the mess, the magic, and everything in between. I'm Kimberly Crawford.
And I'm Shannon Havill. And we invite you to join us.
Awesome. So this is our first episode.
So debut.
Our debut. And we're going to tell everybody why we have been called to do a podcast together.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Well, my goodness. I know that we were both on a parallel journey in regards to having what we call directions being given to us by what I call my spirit squad and you call your team, and wanting to help newly awakening people or people who've been on the journey for a while to be able to share conversations and insights, as well as that connection of not feeling like you're the only one out there stumbling through all of this, all these experiences, right? And I don't know about you, but I was having a hard time kicking it off on my own.
Definitely having that same experience.
Yeah. And then when you asked if we could do something together and partner up, I was like, oh my goodness, amazing.
I'm so grateful you said yes. That was actually a prompting from my spirit team. They're like, you're not getting very far on your own. How about if you phone a friend?
A friend, that's awesome. Well, and it's better together. And I feel like, gosh, the ease and the fun and the joy, whereas everything before trying to do it on my own felt like a slog. It
did. Yeah, it definitely was like walking in mud for me. It was not getting anywhere fast. And the great thing is I feel like every conversation we have is a podcast. So I think it makes it easy.
Absolutely. Upload complete, right? Okay, we're done. No, I do. I feel like the conversations that we have are something that even when we didn't record it, I wish that we had, because I end up having a conversation with a friend later and I was like, oh man, Shannon and I just talked about this. And if I could have like taken the clip and then just passed it on, then that reverberation would have, been able to help others. And, at the end of the day, I think that's what our hope is to be able to share our perspectives in hopes that it will assist other people in fine tuning their own inner guidance. Right?
Yeah. And this is definitely not a how-to. I feel like we're both aligned in like sharing stories from our journey or the journey of people that we've interacted with who are various stages of the awakening journey. Mm-hmm. And so this isn't like, we're just showing up and having conversations and some fun. I think one of the things that inspired me, to do a podcast was actually a divine assignment from my team, because I wouldn't have consciously chosen this for myself because I've spent most of my life in the background doing spiritual work for humanity and the planet, kind of. And I've had some clients and things like that in the past, but it's very much been not forward facing. And so when I was given this assignment, I was like, what the actual F are you asking of me? And so it was a process of going through like all the feels and fears and things like that. But when I finally asked, like, why this? And they were like, well, what's your favorite thing to do? And I said, have conversations about spiritual awakening. And they're like, what is a podcast? And I'm like, having conversations about things you're interested in. I was like, I see the wisdom here, and it still feels uncomfortable. So
I think that's awesome. Yeah, and I love the way that you said divine assignment, you know.
mm,
And a lot of people don't exactly know what that means. So can you explain on your end what
yeah.
a divine assignment is?
Well, my interpretation of a divine assignment is when I get a message from my higher self, my spirit team, to take an action.
Hmm.
And it may or may not feel comfortable. And it may or may not have been on my radar of things to do, as this podcast was.
Right.
Um, and the way I relate to divine assignment is it's going to help me on my journey of whatever I've said that I want to create or experience. And I don't always know what that path looks like. And so I feel like divine assignments are kind of like if you set out on any journey and you have a particular plan and you know you're going to go, hike Everest or whatever the journey is. And you can kind of imagine what some of the parts are going to be. And then once you get on that journey, there's a whole bunch of things we experience that we couldn't have imagined. And so sometimes along the way, we can get messages about it could be a simple direction, or it could be like, here's an assignment, like
Right.
go start a podcast, which put me on a trajectory of having to overcome a whole bunch of things
Yeah.
like fear of being visible and using my voice in ways that I hadn't in the past. Um, and so a divine assignment is inherently designed to forward me on my journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And so what I also hear you saying is it's a tool for self-expansion,
Yes.
right? And co-creation. But the part of it is showing up to activate the assignment. You know, you've got
Yeah.
to not think about it forever and ruminate about it, but you've
Yeah.
actually got to take physical action towards meeting the directions.
Yeah. And when I wasn't moving forward very quickly, not quickly
Mhm.
at all, on my own, that's where the invitation to like phone a friend came. And I will say, since we started collaborating, things have been moving super fast.
Oh my gosh. So fast, like lightning speed fast.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I think you and I were accountability buddies since we met at Wisdom 2.0. And
Yes. Less than
we
a
like
year ago, by the way.
that blows my mind, right?
I
And
know.
we rarely missed a week of at least interacting, whether it
Yeah.
was through Zoom or FaceTime or even just text. And we quickly shared that we've had parallel directions given to start a podcast, and the preparing phase lasted a really long time to the point where like nothing was actually like physicalizing.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, once we connected and decided to do this together, it felt like it was so much more easy and fun.
Yeah.
And I think that we're both finding out, like, as we move through this, that we're making it harder than it needs to be at times, and we find out like, oh, well, we've already done it. It's already done. Like it's unfolding.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be. What this is doing for me is it's breaking down my belief that things have to be hard to get done well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even though like I know that our like the teaching and the guidance is um it doesn't have to be hard and we don't have to struggle, but the programming deep down is like just so embedded,
Yeah.
that it's funny how it comes out in all different kinds of ways.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that speaks to that, in my experience of getting to this point, is letting go of the rules of how things are supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Like a lot of podcasts now, and I listen to podcasts. I love them. The ones that are really highly produced and the
Hmm.
ones that aren't.
Hmm.
Um, and getting stuck in the perspective that things have to be done a particular way versus listening to the guidance each of us had been getting that was similar,
Hmm.
and like, don't have it be over scripted. We're here to just have a fun conversation.
Right.
And neither one of us wanted to do editing, but it was like, oh, I guess we have to edit. And now we're like, yeah, screw it, we're not gonna edit much. And so, and then the other thing that I think, as our friendship was evolving, if I think we both realized that we kind of approach spirituality in a similar way, which is like kind of the down to earth perspective of like, how does our spiritual journey unfold in everyday life?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I was really guided to when I was looking at doing a podcast individually, is like, when we met actually at Wisdom 2.0, I kept hearing around that time, like, there's a ton of people waking up, and my team was like, remember what it was like when you were going through that process 20 plus years ago?
Mm.
And I was like, oh, yeah. And and then the other thing I was hearing in having conversations with people is people kept saying they'd share an experience. It was like I would categorize as a spiritual experience,
Yeah.
and then they would say, I kind of feel like I'm going crazy. And I kept hearing that. And
Yeah.
that's when it first came in my mind, like, oh, we need to be having conversations about this, because there are a lot of people out there who might be feeling crazy when they're actually just waking up.
Yes. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. And
so,
we're normalizing it, right?
yeah, exactly. And I think that we're well matched because of our how we relate to our spiritual journey,
Yeah.
um, to bring that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's very well said. So a little bit of background. I my specialty is I work with HSPs or highly sensitive people, and I help I say anxious empaths become empowered intuitives, and I like to work with children who are really inherently like they are aware that they have superpowers, they just don't know how to harness them. So I help people with that. But it's also getting people to understand that they're not crazy, that they have multisensory abilities. And now that there's this mass awakening that you have, basically alluded to, how can we mm, feel more grounded and centered and curious as we explore, all the facets of what that even means.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell everybody a little
That's
bit about
great.
you.
Well, first, I would just like to say that when I was young, having these interesting experiences, I wish I had a Kimberly. It's wonderful. She taught me about, mother's intuition, women's intuition, and to always, listen to your inner voice and trust it.
Hmm.
So that I would say was my foundational piece of spiritual wisdom that my mom passed on, even
Mhm.
though I didn't grow up in like this spiritual or religious household.
Yeah.
Um, so a little about me is I've always been intuitive and I was empathic, but I for a long time, actually until I was about 30, didn't even know what that meant. I was literally feeling crazy, and I don't use that word lightly because I know mental health is a real thing.
Sure.
Um, but I was experiencing a whole bunch of emotions and thoughts that didn't match up with my life. Like I had a great life,
Mhm.
and but there was a lot of emotions going on that didn't really make sense to me. And long story short, because there was no internet with classes and teachers and all that kind of stuff, it
Sure.
literally was my higher self giving me some breadcrumbs that often showed up in places that were, you know, interesting.
Right.
um, and so it really started with my first class where I learned what being empathic was, and I was like, oh, it's being energetically sensitive and kind of tuned in externally where I was picking up everyone else's emotions. And so it was so muddied inside, I couldn't really distinguish what was mine and what was other. And so when I first learned that, I was like, oh, I'm not crazy, first of all. And secondly, I was able to learn some tools on how to manage that so that the external could stay external and then I could start working on my own energetic um, self.
Yeah.
And so my journey was really about waking up to this other aspect of being human, which is the non-physical, the energetic, um, the unseen world. And
Yeah.
it really did just like blow my cap off because it changed my whole perspective on life. And so my first teacher taught me to work in my heart center
Mm.
and to develop a collaborative relationship with my higher self and my spirit team, which
Mm.
at the beginning I didn't know I had.
Mhm.
so so really this journey really has just been a long time unfolding of more and more staying in my heart, working with my heart's wisdom,
Mhm.
building a relationship with my higher self and trust when I get directions that it's always easier just to follow them.
Mhm.
And I learned that through following and not following. um, and, and and another big part of my journey has been learning and experiencing how to transmute the beliefs, the paradigms, the perspectives that I had that were no longer working for me.
Mm.
And so how to like tune in and how to transmute energies that are no longer serving me, how to bring in my own soul light. And so that's a lot of what I've been working with people over the years on sharing that wisdom, because I really feel like I'm not here to be a guru, and I know you feel the same way. So we're not here to like be gurus or do
Yes.
what we say, because this everybody's spiritual journey is individual. And so I think we're aligned in sharing with people and having conversations about cultivating your own spiritual relationships with your team and following your guidance
Yes.
on on your paths unfolding, and hopefully our perspective and some of the wisdom that we help channel through to share will be of service to
Yeah.
the
And
people who choose
also
to listen to us.
yes, and doing it in a state of joy and laughter, right? Because not everything is going to be, there will be some seriousness,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, we're hoping that we can encourage people to follow the fun and
Yeah.
find the beauty in everyday life. Um, my hope is that we leave people in a state of curiosity and that they want to go out into their world and go, well, I wonder if I do this thing that Shannon was talking about, like what happens? Or, hey, me too. And I think that we'll talk about lots of different things that may stick for one person and not resonate with another person. And
Yeah.
that's great. Like, take what is interesting and what feels good and leave the rest. And
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong. It's like this is an experience and an unfolding, and we don't even know where it's going to take us. So
That's right.
on, hop on
We're
the
here.
bus.
We're here for the journey that is a mystery to us as well. Um,
It's unfolding for us all at the same time. So
yeah, yeah, and I'll say, and I think we've talked about this, that we've both been on this journey for a few decades, and I can report from this point there is no place to get to,
yeah,
um, and it remains an interesting journey of growth, and the more curious that you can be, uh, the funner the journey is, I would say. Being able to laugh at myself has been a really helpful tool. And yeah, just levity, I'd say, is a really valuable ingredient to bring to this journey.
absolutely, absolutely. And I would say that appreciation, like being in a state of appreciation. It's funny.
Yeah.
I was talking with somebody and they were talking about like 3D and 5D and uh, being worried about leaving everybody behind and like they're going to this place and it was just I was like, okay, that's great for you if that's what your belief is, cool. But I like to think of it as more of frequencies and feelings, and we're all having our own individual experience as well as a collective experience,
Yeah.
right? And then all we can do is be in charge of our individual experience and the inner work and the inner state that we are in. And the more we practice the steadiness and holding our frequency, that it's not about going externally somewhere. It's returning to your inner space and doing
Yes.
the work there. and and then being in resonance with your higher self, your infinite self and source, or however other people ascribe that frequency, if you call it
Yeah.
God or you know and I'm hoping that we offer people a different way of looking at this spiritual experience or this journey, as well as tools that have helped us and maybe it will help them too, or somebody that they love. Or if they don't feel like they're on a spiritual journey or quest, but they have somebody in their family and they're like, what the actual fuck is happening?
Right.
Like, is my mom going crazy? Or,
Yeah.
what is my kid talking about? And they're saying that they're imaginary friends and they're having to set an extra place at the table for grandpa, but grandpa passed away 5 years ago. And, but my kid is completely adamant that they're sitting next to one another and they're having dinner together. Um,
Right.
and all those aspects are completely real to the person experiencing them. So, how do
Yeah.
we cope with somebody else having a different version,
Yeah.
of reality? So, I love the
Yeah.
fact that we have a safe space to explore that here and have all
Yeah.
those wonderfully weird conversations.
Wonderfully weird is well put. And I think too, for, hopefully people who have been on their spiritual journey for a while, I mean, there's a lot changing. And I'm really grateful to have you and a couple of other friends that I can have these conversations with about like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah,
So, and sometimes along the journey too, we can get stuck in a certain perspective, or we think the one tool that we learned is the tool we have to, use for a lifetime, or or along the journey there are the times where you're just like you need to go scream in a pillow or cry to let it all out. And so we're going to be having those kind of conversations about like the real of what a spiritual journey involves, because I think there are a lot of preconceived notions that it's supposed to look a certain way, and in actuality everybody's individual journey is as unique as each of us are.
totally.
And I think there can be a little bit of judginess around like someone might not be spiritual enough, or their journey doesn't look like yours. So I don't know. There's all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff going on. So we're gonna
absolutely. Or I've done all the work. I shouldn't have any more issues. Everything should be easy peasy.
right, right.
Get up and meditate every day. It's like, guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and but what are you doing the other 23 and a half hours of the day? Maybe taking out for sleep, but so if we're
right.
meditating 30 minutes a day and then we go out and we're an asshole to the guy at the grocery store or yelling at people in traffic, it's like, you know, all of the energy that is over going on over here is radiating out into the collective field. And
Yeah,
so, we can be putting out that kind of energy, or if we truly do want world peace, we got to cultivate it in here first, so that no matter where we go, we are a beacon of peace,
that's right.
like the monks who just demonstrated that across our country here in the US.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we've got to
Yeah.
be what we want to see.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done. But what I love about what we're doing here is we're bringing awareness to the magic of every day, and that we're spiritual beings having a spiritual experience on a physical plane,
Yeah.
and having that need to be embodied in order to fully have that co-creative experience. And that it's not about getting it right. It's not about
Right.
following, one path. Um, but it's about being open and allowing that self-growth to take on whatever form it takes on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love what you said. It's not going to look the same for everybody or feel the same for everybody. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, really.
It
Yeah,
is.
but
So, yeah.
of love.
So we're bringing the spiritual awakening process to the playground of life.
Right. Oh, and you know what? I wanted to touch back on what you said in regards to we all have our as we go through this journey, we have our tools. And this is not just for the newly awakened, for people that have been on this path for a while. I don't know about you, but I've found that some of the tools that I used to practice that were very effective for me are no longer working.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for directions, like what's going on? And then it's just like it feels very different. It feels very quiet. So I'm finding things like externally reaching out is not, and then being able to like absorb what's happening in the field doesn't work anymore. And it's really like having to get my inner guidance online, and having to trust that first before I can actually be able to sort what's going on outside.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to have a variety of tools, right? Like a compass and GPS on your phone, right? Because if you end up in a reception zone where there's nothing coming through, A compass is nice to have.
100%.
So a
100%.
lot of tools in the toolbox or just a few. It depends on,
Yeah, where you're at.
where you're
Yeah.
at and what you're guided to. So,
Well,
yeah,
I
I
look
think this
forward
is going to be
to just
fun.
inviting everybody from all different stages to walk this journey with us. And I look forward to like even hearing when they write in their comments about, what they are going through so we can discuss that as well,
Yeah,
and make it create a community. So we're not going through this all alone.
yeah. Better to do it with a friend.
Here, here.
Oh, this is going to be exciting.
I'm ready for it though. I am buckled in.
Yeah. Whee!
All right. Well, I hope you guys are ready out there to join us on this adventure that Shannon and I are following directions. So if you feel called to get on our bus as well, then we've got more than enough room. Come on, let's do it.
Yep, that's great. So, at its core, Practical Mystic podcast is about remembering that spirituality isn't separate from life, it's woven into it.
We'll hope you join us on the journey. Stay curious.
Bye.